Hey everybody, how's it going? All right. Okay, so you gotta let me know if you can hear me first. It's always the starting point. So chat box, if you're on your computer or on your phone or whatever, there's a little bubble at the bottom where you can chat into the group chat. Just let me know. Just type in yes if you can hear me. Otherwise, I'll just be talking to myself all night, which I do enough of that as it is. So perfect. Okay, Sarah says she can hear me. Awesome. So, and then also in that chat box, just to let you guys know, so on the group calls like this, I leave it open for everybody to chat to everyone. But if you just want to send a message to me privately above my name, you can just click instead of to everyone, you can just click to me. So if you have a question and you don't want everyone to know it's from you, feel free just to send those privately. And I'm sure we'll have a few more people trickling in as we get going, but we can just go ahead and get started. And yeah, so our October call, and today we're going to be looking at the Financial Freedom Roadmap. And this is a huge part of Funding Freedom U, and I just wanted to really outline what the roadmap is, what the purpose of it is, and how it can really help and what we do with it and all that good stuff. I think it's really a step-by-step action plan to go from, like we've been saying, surviving to thriving with our money. And so that's what we're going to be doing. And then at the very end, we'll be jumping into questions. So anytime you have a question, just type it in and I will answer all those at the end. That's usually what the brunt of this call will be, is Q&A, so questions. And a lot of you submitted questions to me early too. So I have those ready to go and we'll get to those at the very end. Now, first, we're going to get into some nuts and bolts of just things going on in the academy. So I'll be kind of switching back and forth, showing you inside. Number one is a weekly newsletter. So you should be getting a newsletter from me. Usually on Mondays is when those are going to go out. And it's going to be updates with what's inside the academy, what's new, what's coming out. I might do some spotlights of the members forum if somebody had a great question or if somebody had a success, if they had a huge win that they wanted to share with everyone. We'll spotlight those. So things like that. So look out for those newsletters because that's really going to keep you in the know. And like this week's was a reminder of our call tonight. And so you'll get those from me. And then like we did today with group calls, you'll get a reminder email with the link the day of, because I know we're busy and things can get out of hand and we forget about stuff. All right. One-on-one coaching is available. And I'm going to show you this inside. Let me switch screens so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay. So one-on-one coaching is an option inside of Funding Freedom U. If you ever need to just schedule one-on-one time to work together, what you do is when you're logged in, come up to your name, and if you go to your account, then right here, move it to where you can see it. Right there is an option to book a one-on-one coaching session. So anytime you want to work one-on-one, if you feel like everything's great in the academy or in the university, but you're like, I just need help with this, you can book that. You guys get 40% off of my normal rates because you're members and you get members discounts on that kind of stuff. So if you ever want to do that, it's simple. You just click that. You can also shoot me an email and we can get that scheduled and we'll get together and we'll get you some help on what's going on. All right. I'm going to get a little more fluid with this back and forth share screening. Affiliate codes. So affiliate codes, this is the opportunity to share the program with somebody else. And I'm going to flip right back over. I won't be flipping this much back and forth this much the whole time, I promise. So affiliate codes can be found up here. I'm pointing this out because a lot of you, I've had a couple people email asking about it because they couldn't find it. And I've had a few who haven't taken advantage of it who might be interested. So if you click on affiliate, what that does is it's a page where you can get your own discount code to hand out to people. What that does is you give them a code. When they sign up using that code, they get their first month for $10. And then after they've been around for a month, you get $10. So I send you $10 as a thank you for bringing them in. So if you would like your own discount code, you can share the program with anybody. But if you want to get paid for it, and if you want them to get the $10 first month, just go up there. It was right up here when you log in on your name, you click on it and there's affiliate. And when you come in here, this is where you apply for it. You'll have to enter your name and email, and then you need to have a PayPal account because that's how I'll pay you. So basically, at the end of the month, I'll send you $10 for every person that you brought in that stayed for the month. So, and I'll just PayPal it directly to you. So all you got to do is submit those to me, and I'll get back to you with a code that's going to be specific just to you. That way I can track it and make sure you're getting credit for it. Okay, the members forum. If you have not jumped into the members forum yet, it's our community. It's where we connect. If you haven't been in there yet, the first thing you should do is go in and introduce yourself. I know some of you guys on this call have already done that. So go right up and introduce yourself in that forum. And then that's a place to go if you have questions, if you have concerns, if something's not working or you can't find something that you've been looking for. I'm going to flip right back to it again and show you. So let's say you're in the program and let's say you're going through the budgeting module and you just have a question about budgeting. It looks like we've already have somebody had already started a thread on this, which is perfect. So if you have a question about budgeting specifically, just go in there, throw it in there. I'm in the forum throughout the day. I make a point to start my day and end my day in the forum, and then I have 2 or 3 times throughout the day that I pop in there. A lot of times you'll see that I'm even online in there. So if you need to get to me quickly, that's a great way to do it, and I will get back to you within the day. There's a forum for sharing your wins, accountability, which is a good one. We'll come back to this at the end, but this is a good place to post what you're trying to do. Maybe you're like, this month my goal is to cash flow Halloween. I don't know, whatever. Put that in there, and then you'll have people in there cheering you on, and we can check in with you. The thing about goals is when you write them down, and especially when you put them out there for other people to help you, you're more likely to achieve them. And so it's really valuable to write that down, and that's what this space is for. If you have any troubleshooting questions, Courses is here. Also, in the Courses forum, we'll post if the new ones are up. You can access them easily. But if you're in there and you're going, I need help with this, or this video's down, or where do I find the PDF for this? You can post them in there, and that's where I'll help you out with that. All right. So progress tracking in the email I sent, and then if you were here before we started at the very beginning, I'll type in the link if you want to go to it. Not right now, but it's just fundingfreedomu.com/financial snapshot. And so I emailed out the link as well. It was in the email with today's group coaching button. But what that is it's a snapshot of where you are financially today, and it's completely anonymous. It just asks 3 questions. How much debt do you have? How much do you have in savings? And how many lines of credit do you have? Very basic and very simple. But what that does is it gives me a base point, and we're going to track our progress as a community. So at no point am I going to be like, oh, Deborah has paid off this. Deborah has this much in debt, everybody, and she's paid. So I'm not going to call you out. You're welcome to share that, but I want to watch as a group. How much do we have collectively? And then each group coaching call, I'm going to have you update that. It's going to be called progress tracking, and you're going to get same thing when you log in. You'll get a link. It'll just ask you to quickly, how much have you paid off this month or whatever, and then we'll kind of watch our group progress, and we'll have those successes, things to celebrate when we meet on these calls. And then last but not least is the events page, and I'm going to flip back to Funding Freedom U really quick one more time. I promise this is the last time I'll do it. I added a new tab up here just the other day, and it's called Events. And this is where you'll see a calendar of everything that's coming up. So if a course is coming out, if we have our next coaching session, whoops, I clicked export on accident. I want to go to November. Sorry, I got 100 windows in front of my screen. Right here, Friday the 3rd, phase 2 is coming out. Our next group coaching call is already in the calendar. Our hot seat session for next month. So anything you want to know, if you want to know ahead of time, I'm going to schedule these out usually a month or 2 ahead. And you can always open up that calendar to see what's coming up and mark your calendars as well. Now, as a look ahead for November, we have a lot coming up. So November 1st, there is a course in the course library called $1,000 in 30 Days Challenge. On the 1st, I want to see however many of us who want to participate it. We'll all start together on the 1st, and we'll track that in the forum. So basically, it's a once a day, it's a 1 or 2 minute thing to read or a video to watch that's going to be a challenge of ways to save money, cut spending, earn a little extra. And the goal is to bring in $1,000 in 30 days. My thing is, if you don't hit 1,000, at least you're going to get closer and you're going to have some money saved. This is a good time of year to do it with Christmas or with whatever, or your debt snowball. So November 1st, we'll kick that off, and I'll send a reminder email on that, and then that'll be in the forum. We'll be working together on that one. Phase 2 will be coming out November 3rd. So phase 1 budgeting is already in there, the roadmap. We'll be talking about this stuff today. And then phase 3 will come out towards the end of November. We have our next coaching call. We're going to do it before Thanksgiving. So this call will be before Thanksgiving next month. So it's usually towards the end of the month. Next month, we're going to do it ahead of time. And then we'll have our first hot seat session, which I'm excited about, with Sharon and Jim Lear. They are financial advisors. They're wonderful people, very nice people. They are volunteering their time. We're going to be really focusing on questions to ask to find a good advisor, what you should know, what makes an advisor a good advisor. And then they're going to be there to answer questions about investing. You can come in with your 401k questions or whatever you have that you want to ask them without the pressure of them trying to get you to pay them. This is bringing them in to answer questions without the fear of being sold anything. They're here just to support you and help you guys. And then quick win videos, last thing I'm going to highlight, are popping up throughout the month. I don't put those in the calendar. I posted one yesterday, and it was how I choose mutual funds. So it's quick wins, are just a 5 to 10 minute video, a quick lesson, something that you can watch and walk away and take action on right away. So look out for those. Those are always going to be popping up in the resources section, and you'll usually see those on the dashboard. At the very bottom of the dashboard is where I put all new content. So anything that's been added is always on that home page. All right. So let's get into the good stuff. In the chat box, if you haven't opened up your chat box yet, those of you who just joined us, welcome. Type in some celebrations and confessions. If you want to celebrate a win, what went really well, what's something that you're just really happy about? Those are my favorite. Or if you are just somebody who's like, you know what, I need to confess, I need to say it. I accidentally did this or spent this. You can do that too. But go ahead and type in your celebrations and confessions. And oh, good. Awesome, Sarah. You're paying off your first credit card next week. That's great. Very congratulations. That's such a good feeling. I love paying off getting to cross those debts off the list. It feels so good. Oh, awesome. Good, Nancy. So you're frustrated with your income and had a heart-to-heart with your boss about it last week. I hope that went well. I don't know if that's a celebration or confession. I assume it's a celebration. Well, good. That's really good. I'm glad to hear that went well and money's coming in now. Awesome. We had this month, oh boy, so a celebration on my end is, and this is going to sound not like a celebration, but this has been a crazy month for me medically. So I got a hernia, which is, I didn't realize, I don't know, I just didn't dream of getting it, but I did. So I had a surgery scheduled last week, and 2 days before surgery, I got poison ivy, and so they couldn't do the surgery, so we had to postpone it a month. But the good news, something that felt really good, and this is the celebration on that kind of dark story, was I went in to schedule the surgery, and the lady in the office is asking me, she goes, okay, so here's the balance, here's what it's going to be. She's like, we'll call you to set up a payment plan later. And I just asked her, I was like, can I pay for it today? And she's like, yeah, no one ever pays for it today. And it was just one of those moments where we've worked so hard to get to a point where you find those times where things like a hernia surgery was not something I would love to spend money on, but it feels good to be able to say, here, just swipe the card, or, I'm ready to pay for it today. So that was a big win. I was really happy. I called my wife when I left and told her about it because I was excited. So anyway, keep those celebrations coming as we move on. We can read those at the end. But today we're going to be focusing on the financial freedom roadmap. And this is something I kind of pieced together, and I used some influencers from different people, from different methods to make my own kind of roadmap. there's four key elements from what I believe are important to financial freedom. And it's budgeting, getting out of debt, having emergency savings, and then investing. Now, these are such big topics, and there's an order to it. There's a lot of different people who come out with different methods and different orders. And so what I did was I looked at those four elements, and then I was going, okay, so what could be an easy step-by-step checklist almost? Like something you could just go, okay, step one, I'm doing this, and I'm done. Check, I'm good. Okay, what's next? What's next? Something that's just kind of easy to follow, and that breaks it down a little bit easier. Now, if you are a Dave Ramsey fan, which I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan, so if you follow his baby steps, the good news is they fit in here. So you can follow this roadmap, and you're still following the baby steps. You'll see on this roadmap, budgeting is part of it, but right here, number 5 is save $1,000. I'm a big believer saving between $1,000 and $2,000 for your emergency fund, getting out of debt, and then we build our emergency fund. So if you're following the baby steps, if you're a Dave Ramsey person, then this roadmap syncs with it as well. But you can download this on Funding Freedom U. So if you go to just Roadmap, the tab Roadmap, you can get your own copy, download it, print it off. It's designed for you to check off as you go. And it has little explainers, and it's just 15 easy steps. Some of them are going to be quick. Like number 1 is find your why. So that's going to be one you just kind of dream and do in one sitting maybe. And then some of them, like getting out of debt, may take months or years, but that's okay. The idea is for it just to be kind of pieced out together. And then this is really what's guiding those courses, and that's what we're going to have a lot of on that roadmap tab and that's what phase 1 is it's a complete course that's going to walk you through these first 4 steps, what that looks like, how to do it, and then even more in depth on some tips and tricks on being successful. So phase 1 is budgeting, and I'm a big believer in before you can do anything is starting with your why. And we've talked about this in a previous coaching call, but knowing why you're doing something, and I put this as number 1 because we can't do anything until we know truly why we're doing it. Okay, we got to know what we're doing it for. And I put it at budgeting because budgeting is a pain. Budgeting is a pain. It's not fun. I've been budgeting for a long time, and I still think it's a pain. There's still months where I don't succeed at it. There's still months where we go over in a category or screw it up. And so if we don't have that clear picture of why we're doing it, what's our real reason other than just getting out of debt, it's going to be too easy to give it up. So those months where our restaurant money's gone and we really want to go out for dinner, well, we can remind ourselves, okay, what are we giving up by doing that? What's our why? Well, our why is to get to X, be able to do this or to whatever. So building that, finding that why and getting that point. Then step 2 is choosing your budgeting platform, whether it's online, whether it's forms, whether it's paper and pencil. There's tons of options. There's EveryDollar. You Need a Budget, Mint. So choosing the ones that work for you, that's best for you. And then actually writing the budget. We have to do that before we can get out of debt. So if you've never budgeted before, get in the courses, start digging deep and figuring out what works best for you. I know we have a lot of people in here who have irregular incomes. We have realtors. We have people who have spouses who are paid on different schedules, monthly, every other week, whatever. I have trainings on each type of pay schedule. So check those out and make sure you've gotten that budget written and ready to go. And then tracking spending is the hard part. We can say what we want to do with budgeting, but we got to track it. So these are the 4 foundations. Budgeting is, to me, the hardest part of personal finance, but it's also the most essential. And so having these 4 pieces in place is key before we can even start the next phase, which is debt elimination. And so debt elimination, starting out, we need to have that little emergency fund. I say between $1,000 and $2,000. That's just having a little bit of cash on hand, so that way if something happens that you need to go fix, you're not going deeper in debt, because that kind of ruins that momentum. And not to mention, when we get to this phase, we want to hopefully get to a point where we say we're done with debt. It's not an option anymore. And so that's where when you draw that fine line and you have a couple $1,000s set aside, ready to go, when life happens, you don't have to go swipe the credit card. You're not taking 2 steps forward to only go 2 steps back into debt. finding your magic number. What your magic number is the amount you spend every month on minimum debt payments. I call that the magic number. So my magic number when we were in debt, our magic number was, I believe, around $800. So that's how much we were spending minimum on debt payments. That's just to pay the minimum payments. And so the magic number is really thinking, I want you to find it. And the reason is so you can dream about what you would do with that money if you got to keep it. That's kind of like a concrete number. For us, $800, that's what would I do if somebody gave me $800 every month? If I had that extra $800 coming every month, what would I do? And then creating your debt snowball, having a debt snowball in place, and then start crushing debt. That's really what we're going to be doing, crush it. So get your debt snowball created. Again, that's a one-time sitting, check it off. And then 8 is the one that's probably going to last a while, depending on how much debt you have. All right. So emergency savings is going to be phase 3. So after you're out of debt, we have $1,000 or $2,000 in our emergency fund. It's time to really beef that up. So we're going to fill the emergency fund. There's a couple options for this. You can build it to 3 to 6 months of expenses. That's a good rule of thumb, between 3 and 6 months of expenses. So if it costs $5,000 to survive in your house, then you'll need between $15,000 and $30,000 in a savings account, liquid cash. Another rule of thumb is 15% of your annual household income. That's just a good rule of thumb there, between 15 and 20. So if you make $100,000, between 15 and 20,000 is an okay amount to have in your emergency fund. Deciding where to keep it, it's not as easy as sticking it under your mattress. Please don't stick it under your mattress. You need to find a savings account to put it in. I always recommend going to a different bank, a different place, where it's easy to get to, but that you can access it if you need it to, but not so easy you can just transfer it on your phone. And then insurance. I consider that part of your emergency. The whole umbrella protecting yourself from a rainy day is having the right insurances in place. So we'll look at that whenever I post this course at the end of November. It's going to be talking about ways to save on insurance, what insurances I think are important, which ones you may have in place that you might not need, some certain add-ons that get tacked on to insurances. We're going to be talking about life insurances and anything and everything. So that's going to be a good one, and that's one that a lot of people, after I sit with them and we analyze that, they save a lot of money. So when that rolls out at the end of November, check that out and really look at it and consider your insurances. And then the last phase 4, is investing. This is emergency fund in place, debt-free, everything, consumer debt, not everything but the house. So now, how do we choose those right retirement accounts? We need to choose them. We need to decide what we're going to do. If you have a 401k, do you have a match? Do you want to do a Roth IRA? So all that stuff. Investing 15% of your income every month into your investments, putting all that straight in. Then college savings. If you have kids, if you're saving for their college, this would be the time to do that. After you've started investing in yourself and your retirement, then start saving for their college. Or cash flowing their college, depending on how old they are. And then last but not least is to pay off our house. And I consider that an investment. That's part of your investment portfolio. If you own your home, we want to own that outright, because then that becomes part of your net worth. So that is the fastest crash course I could possibly give on the financial freedom roadmap. Like I said, I wanted to break it into 4 sections, and then each section just has little step-by-step things you can check off as you go. So everyone here is going to be on a different point on this roadmap. We're not all going to be at the same starting point, and that's okay. You may already have your budget in place, so you may already be through phase 1 and ready to start at phase 2. Some of us are going to be in phase 2 debt elimination for a long time. Some of us are going to be there quick. Maybe you just are able to get out of it fast, and then you're in the savings one for a while. So there's not necessarily a defined timeline for you, but this is really where you should be following. If you follow these steps, then you will feel that financial freedom. That's why I call it the financial freedom roadmap. All right. So that's the quick overview of that. Reminder, you can get that downloadable roadmap in the on the roadmaps tab on Funding Freedom U. I promised you I wasn't going to go back to Funding Freedom U, but I'm going to. I'm going to show you where it is. So while I'm doing that, this is your time to type in any questions you may have. There it is. Okay. So go ahead and start typing in questions. If you come up here, roadmap on the tab, and you can just download it right there. And that's going to be exactly what we were just looking at. You can print it, like I said, get a big black Sharpie, hang it wherever you're going to see it, maybe next to your computer, so that when you're logged into the Funding Freedom U, you can look at it and check it off. But like I said, everybody's going to be at different points. So find out where you are and just follow it through, and it's there for you. And then, as you can see, the roadmap on here is just 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you click on 1, phase 1 budgeting is already up. And there's just a course that walks you through everything step by step. And on November 3rd, I'll be posting the next phase. All right. So go ahead and type in questions. I had a few people sharing, and you guys can see these because we got everyone in here. But and I'll pull up the questions that were sent in early. So a question that was sent in was, what are some tips for Christmas budgeting, both for the present and future reference? I tend to go a little bit overboard. You're a giver. That's okay. Yeah, so tips for Christmas. There's a few things. Christmas is already almost here, as we know, 2 months away. So there's not much we can do to save and prep for it in the big scheme of things. So one, I say, is set a budget for yourselves going into it. It's way too easy to just start buying gifts for everyone willy-nilly and turn around to me and going, oh my gosh, how much did we spend? So really set a budget. What you can do is list out everybody you're going to buy a gift for and put next to them how much you think you should spend on them. What budget do you want to set per person? Write it all out, and then at the bottom you'll know this is X amount. That's how much I need to stay under. And if it's reasonable, then do that. If you need to cut Christmas spending, then you can talk to if you're married, talk to your spouse about not getting each other gifts. Talk to friend groups. If you get friends or family members gifts, maybe you just talk about only getting the kids gifts, or do it in a draw, or drawing names out of a hat. But otherwise, long-term saving for Christmas, prepping for Christmas. The good news is, since Christmas is 2 months away, is you get a fresh start really soon. So January 1st, I want you to start saving for next year's Christmas. That should be a goal. If $600 is your Christmas budget, then you can probably guess that next year it'll be about $600. So divide that by 12 months. So every month, $50 a month, set aside, stick it into an envelope. And then when Christmas comes next year, you won't have to stress about it. You'll have that $600 ready to go. Good question. Okay. It wasn't until this is from Cami in the group. It wasn't until I committed to a budget and used every dollar that I realized half my income goes out to payments. Part of my why is knowing eventually I will really decide where all the dollars go. Good. I'm glad. Yeah. Knowing that why, right? Good job. Scrolling up too. And so, Nancy, you're saving to buy a home and replace your car. Good goals. I like those goals. We'll keep you accountable. We'll hold you to them. And then how can I figure out how much to save for a car? New versus used Honda, not sure which to get since used ones are nearly as much as new and have higher interest rates for financing. So when it comes to cars, obviously, I'm going to tell you I don't think borrowing money for a car is a good idea. And I think because this question was submitted early too with a little more info that it's a 10-year-old Honda. So let me just say in general, what I would do is I would start saving for a car to pay cash. If you're afraid your car is going to go kaput soon, I would start putting some money aside to replace that so you can do it with cash. Now, when it comes time to get one, if you can wait longer, then you can save up and get those newer ones. If you can't, then you might have to sacrifice either on age of car, model, whatever. Now, a question also came in similar to that, which is what's the best way to save to replace a car? And it's just pay yourself that car payment, pay yourself more. You can treat it in your debt snowball. So if it feels like a really dire need, then you can stick that up at the top and save for it so that way you have it, so that way you don't have to borrow money for it later. What you can do is you can save $10,000 and then get a $10,000 car, drive that for a while, and then save $5,000 more and trade that in and get a $15,000 car. And then if you want to do it again, you can do it again. But I'm a believer in drawing that line in the sand and saying, I don't want to borrow money anymore. To me, it's not a part of the equation of really winning with that money and getting control of our income. When we're paying those car payments, then we're losing out on that money every month. That's our magic number we're giving away. So as much as possible, I don't know your situation and what your car is like or how usable it is, but the longer you can go without a car with that car saving, the better off you'll be. All right. Good question though, and that's a common one too. A lot of people, the car thing is frustrating because they're so expensive. It's hard to get out in front of it, but you can do it for sure. All right, we're paying off debt of about $60,000 while cash flowing a college education for our son. He has some scholarships and tuition assistance from the National Guard, and our portion's about $7,000 per semester. My question is, he'll be deploying next year, so we won't have that cost until he gets back 1 year. Would you put that money into a sinking fund, or would you throw that money at our debt? I would put that money toward your debt. So it sounds like what's happening is he's leaving for a year, so you won't be paying college tuition for a year, right? And then he'll come back, and that's when you'll start paying it again. So I would just take that year off. You've been cash flowing it so far, and I think if you can cash flow it when he gets back, that's a great idea. But put it towards your debt snowball. Otherwise, it's almost like you're putting it into a sinking fund. It's almost like you're going to borrow money to put into savings, if that makes sense. By not paying it off on the debt, we're choosing to put it into savings. So I would put it towards your debt and then pick up where you left off when he comes back, and tell him thank you for his service. All right. I'm going to scroll through the comments box and make sure I see any other questions or any successes that were shared. I didn't read this one earlier from Cami. I started Lyft driving to make extra money to support debt payoff and bills too. Can't believe how easy it is and good money. I went over in food again, but I'll try again in November and feel okay though, because I also made more money than I thought I would with the recent new Lyft income. Awesome. So that was a confession and a celebration. So that's good. So went over on your food budget, but you have your Lyft income. So earning that extra income, and that's going to be what speeds up this financial freedom roadmap, getting you to that ending point. All right. Now, keep typing in questions. Moving forward, you already saw what's coming up in November with our hot seat sessions. I'm booking hot seat sessions moving forward. We're going to have one a month. We're going to skip December because of the holidays. But after that, every month I'm going to be bringing somebody in to talk about a certain topic. So if you have a topic you really want to know more about, I can tell you in January, I have a good buddy of mine, Brian Bandis. He's going to be coming in. He's a mindset and motivation coach. So he's actually awesome. I shared his link in my newsletter on Monday, I believe, his website. But he's going to come in talking about getting in the right mindset and how to stay motivated with our new year goals and all that stuff. I have marriage counselors I'm going to be bringing in who are going to be talking about working together with spouses. I'm going to be bringing in tax people one time to talk about taxes. I'm going to be other things like businesses, side hustles, how to grow and market side hustles, or if you're self-employed, your full-time businesses. So I want to bring in experts every month on different topics. So if there's something that interests you that you are just curious about, just drop me a line, drop me an email, and I will find a way to get somebody in here who can shed some light into that topic. But otherwise, keep your eyes out for the new stuff that's coming throughout the month. And then I want you to think about your takeaway. So you can write this down on paper. You can type it in the chat box if you want to. I do encourage you to, after this, or you can go right now and do it, is to go into the forum and type this into the accountability section. But what's your takeaway? What is your next action step? What is your goal for this month? Just one thing you want to try and do this month between now and our next call. What is one thing you want to try and do? It could be write your first budget. It could be stay within the budget you outlined. It could be complete the course, the phase 1 budgeting course. It could be something like that. I want you to just take a minute and think about what's your goal for this next month between now and our next call. Great. All right, Nancy, that's a good goal. Increasing your income. Do you know how much you want to increase it by? You don't have to. You don't have to type that to everybody, but just a food for thought. Just having a number. I think that's a good goal. Good. Pay off two smaller. You can do that, Sarah. We'll check in on you and see how that's going. Good goal. Pay off two smaller credit cards. Awesome. And you don't have to type them in. You can, like I said, write them down. I do encourage you to come to the accountability forum in the community and just write it down. Set a date. You can say by our next call, which is November 15th, I want to increase my income, or by our next call, I want to pay off these two credit card debts. That way you have us in there to cheer you on. We can check in on you, see how you're doing. And then when you reach it, we're all going to be jumping up and down with joy, celebrating you. All right. All right, guys. One last chance. Type in any questions you have, and then we will get off the call and let you enjoy your evenings. And of course, if you think of any questions after you get off, you can always email me, just info@craigdacey.com. So, or you can always jump in the forum and throw them in there, and I'm happy to help in any way I can. But otherwise, guys, have a great night. Thank you for spending this time with me. I always enjoy chatting with you and getting to answer your questions and help out and support you. And if you need anything inside of Funding Freedom U, that's what I'm here for. So let me know what you'd like added, what you would like support in, or just whatever. Okay? All right. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.